Hello, Carl from CWD, just at the pond in Derby that we're building. So we've got the first layer levelled out. So I'll just show them what it's going to look like. They want it as close to this door as possible so that can open and close, which it can. We've got a pergola going over the top. It's not quite square from the back as you can see, but it's going to be squared from the front, because that's where you're going to actually see it. And that's the old pond. So they're going to all be shifting over here. So what I'll do is I'll get the next layer on and I'll show you where each screw goes and all that sort of stuff. Two levels are screwed together now. You don't put screws in the first level, you don't need to bolt it into the ground or anything. All you need to do is start from the second level screwing it in, because the screws go through halfway through there and the structure is strong enough to take the pressure on its own independently of any other bolts. If you do them upright, then that's for you to figure the rest out. We only do them small upright. When I say upright, I mean the timber's not this way but on the thin end, so the taller. Makes it a bit cheaper, but we find that all the extra work you've got to do to make it strong enough actually works out costing about the same, so that's up to you if you want to do that. So I need to get two more in here, but when you're screwing them in, make sure that you countersink them so you can run your hand over, because you don't want the next timber going on top and being wobbly. If you can see any knots like this, don't put a screw in there because it won't go all the way down, because that's like hardwood compared to this nice softer wood. So I'm always avoiding knots whenever I'm putting them in. It doesn't matter if you do it here, as long as you've got about this area, you know, it doesn't even matter if they're here really, it's still going to hold it, it'll be strong enough. So this pond is 10 high, so the first 4 levels don't have any window gaps, so I've got another 2 levels of this, and I've got 6 levels that include the window. So over there I've got the W piece, and that's going to be going over here once I've got another 2 levels on. So I'll get the time lapse going, we'll see how long it takes me to do it. It's 11:26 at the moment. I've been going for about 20 minutes on it. I've got the first 2 levels done, but once you got these done, it flies up. So on this one you can see that I keep swapping one of the pieces out. The reason for that is it was just a bit oversized, and if you've got a piece that's oversized, if you leave it to the last level, it's not going to affect every level before it. So if you've got one that's significantly bigger or smaller, one piece, like I say, sleepers are all different sizes, we can't control that unfortunately. Save that until the last level, or if you've got a couple, save until you get further on in your pond, and then they won't make anywhere near as much of an impact, because otherwise you'll have a gap between every single level going up then potentially. So to avoid that, any oversized or undersized ones, save them to the end. Hello, so we're at the stage now where the window's going to be going in. It's going to be going now. You don't have to muck about using a tape measure or anything. You dry stack each piece all the way around to make sure that it looks good, and then around the window you put the next level as well, just to make sure that it looks good. It'll make more sense in a minute when I actually show you, because if you put a piece here and it's like half a centimetre off, you can end up with a jagged thing like this. Doesn't look too good. You're best off, if you do have to do anything, dry stack it. And if you do have to sacrifice anything, sacrifice the outside, not around the window, because the window is going to be where you're looking. The outside will just blend into the background. So I'm going to dry stack this area now and show you how we find the centre for the window piece, which is just down there with a W on the end. And yeah, we'll show you how that works. The glass will actually sit on this piece. That's how it's going to work. Remember, this is the window ledge piece, so you want this to be on its best looking side, so just flip it over a few times, see which you think looks best. So this is a nice clean edge on top, so we're going to go with that one. So that's the first level around the window. As you can see, it fits nice. You don't have to muck about with the tape measures to find where the centre of this is. We've had people screw this in, and if it's just off by a few mil, it doubles up on the other side. So just dry stack this all level, and then just to make sure it looks good around the window, what you want to do is stick the next level on of these side pieces. On the other side. That's just to make sure that this looks like it's nice and flat up there, which it does. So that's what you're aiming for. Because if it was off slightly, you just got that, and then you can imagine it step in and then it'll be like this, and you don't want that. You want it to be nice and flat so it looks good. so this is, if you buy a pond kit, this is everything you get included up to this level as standard. Don't get any filtration or anything. So the copings are on there now. Looks absolutely clear as anything. When you first fill the pond, it won't last like that. Once you put fish in, you'll have new pond syndrome for a bit. Don't worry too much about it though. So yeah, I'm just going to nip this little bit off here. There's just a bit of liner sticking out there, and that one's fine. So I'll just nip this little flap off here so you can't see it. Maybe glue it down next to the waterfall. So the waterfall are glued to these bits of timbers, and I'll show you. We've obviously used my Pond MS300, so just a few blobs underneath, and yeah, as you can see, it's held on pretty well. So what we need to do, I've got a 1-inch pipe in there. I've already used PFT thread on it, so that's in there and that's sorted. I just need to glue into that. I need to tee off using some ball valves. We're gonna have, because this pergola post wasn't really expected to be in the way, we can't really go through this wall straight across. It's going to be going into that. So I think we're going to have a hard pipe over here, 2 bits of hard pipe going over, and then we're going to have flexi hose up to this point. So we're going to have hard pipe clipped on here, flexi hose from the filter. So we'll have 2 going out, 2 flexible hoses, and then it'll be pumping in, coming back out into a T with a 1-inch tap and an 1.5 inch tap, so you can control the flow on both of them. And yeah, and then that'll be it for the day. So it's 11:30 now. Let's see how long it takes with the filters. Filters normally take the longest out of anything, but this seems a pretty simple setup. Just to show you our pipe clips that we use. So these are the pipe clips that we use. The only downside to these, I'm talking about my own pipe clips here, so I'm not slating anyone else's. The only downside to these is if you've got, say that's on a wall there, and you want to glue this, that bit of pipe's going to be too high, so the pipe's going to be running over here. So you need to step this up about the same as what the coping thickness is. So I can go with a bit of coping. So what I need to do when I'm putting the 1.5 inch pipe on, as you can see, that pretty much brings it out a bit further, so the ball valve's not going to actually be on the wall, it'll be just off, so that's ideal. So use a few of these offcuts, take it off, so when this valve's on here, it's not, you know, it's not going to fit if we screw the pipe clip onto there. If it doesn't make sense from what I've shown you there, it will make sense once the valve is mounted on here. We've got the T-piece and everything, it'll make sense to you. So I'm going to get cracking with the filters now, and yeah, we're going to have the pump just dangling inside the pond. So using hard pipe, the pump will just dangle down there about a foot off the ground. Sorry, just wiping snot all over myself. And then just in case anything does happen, this unit leaks or anything, then it won't be a problem, because it'll have at least a foot of water in the bottom of the pond. It won't pump dry. Right, so I'm almost done with plumbing in the filters now. Got the electrics to do still, but that's just a switch box, so that'll be nice and easy. This is where we got up to. So this is the water going back into the pond. So it's going to have a little thing like that. That's going to control the water going into the waterfall. What I want to do first though is get the pipe coming in. So it's going to come in on a 90, go up, and that's going to be the pump feeding the filter. So that's going to be going that way. I've got to have it a bit longer here so the pump can be inside the pond, and there's still enough space for it to come over this way, and then we'll clamp it down, make sure it's nice and sturdy, and everything will be fine. So yeah, I'll come back when this bit's in and I'm ready to start the 1 inch going into the waterfall, which is just down there.
Oh yes, I'm loving that. I'm loving that. Let's go to this.
Does look good, doesn't it?